Hello and welcome to the North Carroll Cooperative Parish Proclaim Training. Proclaim, first of all, is a presentation software that we were able to use to display information on our monitors in our 3 sanctuaries. It's cloud-based, therefore we can build it remotely, like from an office or from your home, and then we are able to pull it off the cloud and run it on Sunday mornings or Thursday nights or for a special service another day. The building of the Proclaim presentation is done primarily from our parish office, which means that you don't really have to worry about that right now. I'll tell you basically how that works in case you need to rearrange something or edit something on the fly. But as far as building it and preparing it, it's really not something to worry about right now, even though that is easy as well. We are able to build one presentation each weekend, and then we duplicate it to be able to account for the time of the presentation. But we're able to do that because all of our services are the same. The exception is the 9 o'clock contemporary service. Obviously, if we're singing "Oh Holy Night" at 10:30, 9:45, and 11, we might not be singing that at 9 o'clock a.m. But that's an easy fix for the builder. But everything else is the same. Scriptures are the same. The message is prepared the same. And therefore, this is a really nice program for us to be able to use. We need to rebuild our pool of Proclaim presenter users. And so these are the people on, let's just say, Sunday mornings that come into the sanctuary, at least 15 to 20 minutes early to turn on the computer, to open up Proclaim, turn on the monitors, and start displaying the information. And so it is really easy. If you use a computer at home or at work, you're going to find that this is extremely simple. It's important, but it's so simple to use. We have before us here an open Proclaim presentation. It happens to be for July 28th. I'm going to turn off air here. And so when you first turn on your computer, this is what you're going to see in the sanctuary. And so we turn it on, and there's 3 different columns. Over here in the left-hand side, you'll see the time and date and location of the service. And so in this first block here that I just highlighted, where it says 9:45 a.m. GM, July 28th. And so that's what you'll want to make sure, first of all, if you're at Greenmount on July 28th for the 9:45 service, you know you're okay. If you're at Grace, you'll need to go to File, and you'll need to open Recent, and you'll need to find the one for Grace, 10:30 a.m. G for Grace, July 28th, and now we pull that one up. And again, most of it's the same, but you have to be on your right title, otherwise you could mess up what's going on at Greenmount. So even though it's the same information, you need to be on the right service, the right date, to make sure everything's working properly across the parish that morning. So that's the first thing that you check. This rest of the left-hand column here, you also make sure that the right date, and you can see that it's not, so that's good, and we can show you what to do about that here in just a second. You pull down on that and make sure you select the 28th, and that is important. I'll show you why. As you come down, we see the pre-service loop. This contains, I'll just say, advertisements. And so as soon as we go on air, which I'll show you in just a second, these will be scrolling through automatically prior to the service time. And we can scroll down a little bit further, and we see a warm-up section. The warm-up section here, and most of the time, is blank. That's a good place to put one final slide or a brief piece of information that's going to play one time only, a minute before the service begins. So at 10:29, if we had something in that slot, it would pop up on the screen the last minute. It's sort of like if you had something really important, like that you wanted to say, stay after church today, for this, that's where that would be. Then you see the service. And again, none of this stuff you are messing with or changing, except for you're making sure you're at the right place. You're making sure that this is the right date, and you're making sure your service time is correct. That is very important before you go on air, because what happens at 10:30 is it will go automatically on the monitors in your sanctuary. It'll go automatically to the first element in the service. And so here would be Christmas party slide would show there at 10:30. And so you got to make sure the time is correct. As you go down, you'll see that in the service, that is the actual order of worship. And then the post-service loop would be, you could have more advertisements here playing as people were leaving the service. And so after you check to make sure that's all right, let's pause there for a second. So again, as you turn the computer on, this is what you'll see. You want to make sure that you see a green, all items are up to date check mark here. And then you want to make sure you're in the right place. If not, you go File, Open Recent, and you pick the right one. And then you want to go down and make sure your time is correct. That's all you have to do. Date, time, green check mark. If you're not, there's some problem solving to do before you go to the next step. So then here in the middle, right here where I'm circling, is the edit function. And so if you see, let's go to cookouts and conversations. These aren't happening anymore because it was Thursdays in July. But if there was a problem, this is the edit column. And then over here is the preview. So this is what it would look like on the screen. Let's just say we had the wrong time. And so if you're the user, again, you don't really have to check this, but if you just notice, like I noticed there was a problem, so let's change it to 7 p.m. That's how easy you can do that. But again, that should be already checked out before you open up your computer, but it is possible to change things if you notice. So then, after everything's ready, and it should be as simple as turning the computer on, making sure we have a green dot here, green check mark here, making sure the date and times are right, then you can just simply go on air. And so that should take like 30 seconds, especially after you do it a week or two. So now we go on air and it is scrolling through all these advertisements. And so once you hit on air for your particular service, you really don't have to do anything until the service begins. And so when the service begins, and since we're not at a service time, I'm going to manually do it. But if it was 10:30 a.m. on July 28th, it would hit right there to the Christmas party slide. And so that will come up automatically. So once you turn the computer on and you hit on air, and let's say it's the 10:30 service and you do that at 10:10 or 10:15 at the latest, you can walk away and you can go, drink some coffee or hang out with people, talk to people, because by the time, in this case, Donald starts to play the piano for the prelude, this Christmas party slide, the first slide of the day, is going to connect and be put up onto the monitors. And so you're ready to go. And then from then on, it is super easy. And just as you're following the worship service, you should have your booklet open to the appropriate page. And then you go through. Normally, the first slide at 10:30 would be this one, the title of the sermon series, if there's not something special announcement we're trying to make and draw your attention to. And then you're just clicking the mouse or your pad on your laptop on these big right arrows. And so now we can go through. That's time for announcements. And you can say, oh, wow, I went too fast. You just simply go back. You can go back to the name, and then you get caught up. Oh, I can go right. So it's just right and left, that using the arrows on the screen and up on the monitors in the sanctuaries, the slides will be moving. All right, and so then down on the bottom, you can see what's coming next. So if I hit the right arrow here, joys and concerns are going to be next. If I go backwards, the July theme is going to be next. And you can do it that way if you wanted as well. So I could hit right on it, and that's whatever is in your center screen is going to be up on the monitors now that we are on air. And the red button up here says on air. And you go down here, you can see where you can edit on the fly a little bit. That's an advanced course we're not going to do for today. And so you would just simply keep going through the service. The hardest part, if that's even a way to say that, the potentially most challenging part is songs. And so at the 10:30, 9:45, and 11 a.m. services, again, all the hymns are the same. In this case, it's Away in the Manger. You would just simply go through and sing. As they're singing, you're moving along. What happens is, occasionally, like at the 9 o'clock, when you're doing a contemporary song, most of the song, 90% of the time, the actual song, once you start to sing, let's just say Away in the Manger is in is a contemporary version, you can go, you might have to do some backwards and forwards down here on the path. It's like, because we didn't sing it right in order like we do in the hymnal. But most time we try to check that and make sure it's in the proper orders. And so you're just hitting the right arrows. Opening prayer, let's say again, you went too fast, you can simply go back to the previous screen. That is cool. Another big trick is over here on the right hand side. Let's just say you get way out of whack, or you don't want a distraction. Somebody's making a very important announcement, or something where you don't want distraction up on the monitors. You can hit the blank screen, and that makes the monitors up front black. Or you can hit the logo. Either case. And so these are kind of like quick screens that you can put up there if you need, or you get messed up and you're confused about, or the pastor went out of order, or the liturgist went out of order, and you don't even know where we are in the service. Again, hopefully that's few and far between. You can hit one of those, and then you come back down here on the bottom to get back to where you were. So again, it's just really just going straight through with the service. We try our best to be in order, again, following the order in the booklet. And so it's really, really simple once you get it turned on. And so what I invite you to do is sign up, or not even sign, you don't have to sign up, but sometime in August, we'll have extra chairs back at each computer in the sanctuary. I'd like for you to shadow someone that is running the computer. Kim Cavey and Sean Favor, I primarily run the computer at Grace. And so sit back there with them and just see how easy it is from beginning to end. And then at St. John's, we have Nancy Perry and Todd Bonner, Jason Sobolski, Asher, and Marley Rudolph. And at Greenmount, we have Willie Bollinger, Asher, and Kyle Hand that run the computers. And so you can sit and shadow with them. Also Rennie Herbst at St. John's, 9 o'clock. So we have some people that you can shadow and learn from, just to really see how easy it is. And then we'd like for you to sign up to run the computer in September. So while it's all kind of fresh in your head. And so if you can sign up in September, that would be very helpful. We're going to have sign-up sheets right by the computers. And then Catherine will look at those sheets and she'll print them in the booklet when it comes time for the September, so we know who's running the computer where. And then if they're signed up, and so if Kyle Hand is signed up at Greenmount and he comes in and he's there, we don't want any confusion. Kyle was running the computer, not Asher, for example, because it's going to be very important in the fall as we have busy schedules and we have busy sanctuaries, that we want to make sure that we have this important piece of our worship covered. If you have any questions, be sure to see me, Pastor John, or one of those people that I mentioned that have been running Proclaim for a few years. That would be helpful as well. Thank you, and I hope this was good for you.